What is up, enthusiasts? It is Heide Park here, and welcome back to another one of my videos. So, if you don't know, this is another installment of my Never Built series, and to say the least, this is one of my most popular series on my YouTube channel, and it is for a reason. You all love it, and I love making these videos. Needless to say, in the roller coaster community, there are a lot of great roller coasters built, and on the flip side, there are a lot of great attractions out there that were proposed and even partially built, but never open to the public. These are concepts that could have potentially changed the roller coaster industry and what it would be today. So, from a launched B&M at Thorpe Park to an amusement park resort in West Virginia, this is Heide Park, and today, we are going to be looking at more never built attractions. First, we are going to go to the United Kingdom to look at Thorpe Park. This is one of the biggest amusement parks in the country, and it boasts many roller coasters like Stealth, Saw, and etc. But did you know in the early 2000s, they were going to add a launched B&M? The main inspiration came in 1999, when the Incredible Hulk at Islands of Adventure opened. This ride, still open today, is one of the most popular B&Ms on the planet. It boasts an incredible layout with a very unique launch lift. In the early 2000s, in the now spot of Colossus, they proposed a massive launched B&M, but unfortunately, even though we have much information on other rides, this one is only consistent of a blueprint. So what can we see here? Well, the first part of the ride consists of a flat launch in a tunnel, because it would start off with the 3 inversion combo of a cobra roll and a vertical loop. Though the rest of the ride would differentiate and be more low to the ground, it would still look like a very long ride. The ride looked like it was pretty long and boasted a few great elements, including a good amount of inversions. But unfortunately, due to a few unknown reasons, possibly the fact that Colossus was more marketable, this ride was obviously never built. And in 2002, in the very place of where this ride was proposed, Colossus, the world's first 10 inversion coaster, opened up by Intamin. Up next, we go from Europe all the way to Asia to talk about Beijing's Great Mall of China. Of course, a play on words of the Great Wall of China, this was going to be one of the largest malls the world has ever seen. This great project was announced all the way back in 2007 and was proposed to open in the early 2010s. Even though that plans were pushed back and plans changed, this was going to be the final result. So what was the amusement park going to be? Because that is our main point of focus here. This concept, if you don't know, was proposed by Berjaya, which was a company that has invested into roller coasters in indoor malls before, including Supersonic Odyssey at Times Square Mall in Malaysia, which is a built Intamin coaster. But this mall in China would be different and much bigger. Starting off with some of the known flat rides of this mall, it would have a Discovery by Zamperla and a Disco by Zamperla as well. But this mall would feature 3 roller coasters as well. The first one would be a Vekoma motorbike with a custom layout. Knowing this would intertwine with some of the bigger roller coasters, the second major roller coaster was a Premier Rides Skyrocket 2. This was added later as the concept didn't come out until the early 2010s, but nonetheless this would have been added. But the third and final coaster proposed might be the most interesting. It was a Vekoma prototype pretzel dive coaster, which is not a currently existing model. Vekoma came out with this model in the early 2010s, and none of them have been built yet. To say the least, from the concept art and a No Limits 2 rendering, this looked like a very interesting model, and it looked a lot like their personal take on an SNSL logo. Maybe a little bigger and with more modern elements, but nonetheless, the same idea. And with modern Vekoma now, I honestly hope that this happens. But with this scenario, none of this actually happened. All of this was partially built, a part of the mall's structure including the Discovery, the Disco, and supports for the motorbike were all built. In the middle of construction, this whole project was abandoned, and everything that was partially built at the time was torn down for an empty space for future development. Up next, we go back to Europe to talk about Heide Park. This is one of the most popular parks in Germany and is operated by the same people as Thorpe Park, Merlin. Merlin, if you don't know, is one of the biggest theme park operators on the planet, operating parks like Alton Towers and Legoland parks. But nonetheless, Heide Park before Merlin was proposed to get something massive. In 2001, they opened up Colossus, which was an Intamin prefabricated wooden coaster that still operates at the park today. It was, to say the least, a pretty big coaster, and they really liked how it came out. So, as early as mid-2001, just a month after the ride came out, they contacted Intamin again. Not for just any coaster, but at the time, the world's tallest full-circuit roller coaster. So, what was the plan? Well, it was going to be a roller coaster, specifically a giga coaster inspired off of Millennium Force, that would have a max height of 328 to 410 feet. And to say the least, this would have been the tallest full-circuit coaster at the time, being planned in late 2001, early 2002. It would have been placed right next to the Colossus coaster, where Desert Race currently stands today. And the ride would have had a track length of over 8,000 feet. A big problem though is that this ride kept getting pushed back. And with lower attendance numbers than expected in the early 2000s, they didn't know if they were stable enough to make a coaster so big. Eventually, they decided to downsize the ride a little bit, make it a little over 7,000 feet as opposed to 8,000, and of a height of 320 feet. But unfortunately, that was scrapped as well. For our final project, we go to a place that I've never talked about in this series before, West Virginia. West Virginia is located right in between the states of Ohio and Virginia, so you would expect it to have a pretty okay coaster collection. And to say the least, they don't have any major thrill coasters as well. Not at least anymore. But there was a park that was almost going to be constructed in the northern tip of West Virginia, in the city of Wheeling. Proposed by Steve Menard in the 2000s, Wild Escape was going to be a mid-sized theme park and resort that was set to open in 2008 in the Highlands District. Now at the time, this district was expanding fast, and so he wanted to capitalize on that. This would not be just a park though, it would be a whole resort, and quoted by the man himself, a small city. It would have shops, restaurants, an outdoor amusement park, an outdoor water park, an indoor water park, and of course, a massive hotel. Unfortunately, with the amusement park, the information is mostly unknown, but here's what we do know. They would have had a state-of-the-art Kiddieland area, it would have had a massive amphitheater, and according to some of the concept art, it would have had a Ferris wheel, a wooden coaster, and supposedly a Mauer Rides X-Car. At the time, investors said that it would be called Shock Tower and would have been similar to a Mauer Rides X-Car, but we don't know any more information than that. Unfortunately, after years of the project being pushed back, it was eventually cancelled for good, but nonetheless, it is really cool to see all of these concepts on paper as opposed to nothing at all, so we could see and imagine what these concepts would have been like if built. Places like Heide Park in West Virginia would have probably had more enthusiasts, and it's very interesting to see these concepts come to life. Do you think that you would have loved to experience any of these never built attractions? Let me know in the comments below. And check out the link in the description for merch and other accounts to contact me. This is Cedar Flags, and I'll see you all later.